27 in a row. I mean, I'm looking at my card. I've never seen a card like that before. It's kind of stunning. But no, I mean, just he didn't feel that great today, which is amazing. I mean, physically, he didn't feel, his best. But I think after the fourth or fifth inning, he obviously knew he needed to pick us up. We weren't hitting much. And like I said, he picked our defense up by getting out of that inning. Only gave up one that inning. I mean, there's not much else to say. I mean, the guy, battled through it. And complete game of Coors Field. I mean, how many times has that happened?
I was talking to David Murphy during the game, and after that eighth inning, I said, if Woody tries to take him out, I'm a little concerned for Woody's personal safety.
Yeah.
What was
the one thing about Lance is he's, he comes across as like, don't mess with me. He's very, he communicates with me well during the games, and he's not afraid to tell me when he doesn't feel good. I told him from day one last year, you have to be honest with me, or else I'm not going to trust you, and I'm just going to have to take you out at times. If I think I'm seeing something I don't like, or if something that looks like his legs are off or his arms or whatever. But he's been really honest with me. He told me the whole game, I said, listen, you're not risking injury, because he didn't feel great. And from that point on, so every inning I went back and checked on him. Every inning. After the eighth inning, he came by me, and I knew I wasn't going to take him out. I said, how you feeling? He goes, I'm going to finish this thing. I said, well, then go do it. That was it.
We talk about, being an ace of a staff or what. He's obviously the ace of the staff, but he's an ace, period, isn't he?
In my opinion, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, if not the best right now. I mean, you can argue that. You can argue that last year. Honestly, if you take out his first 2 or 3 starts of last year, where he kind of gave up some runs, from that point on, he's been one of the most dominant pitchers, and there's a lot of numbers that prove that. I think he flies a little bit under the radar, but I don't think so anymore. I think people realize within the industry know how good he is, and where he's come from the beginning of last year to now. It's just it's such a good thing for our organization to see the development and growth of him on so many levels. And he's the best pitcher in baseball, in my opinion.
Thanks, Woody. That's it for me.
Okay, other questions? TR.
Focusing on that ninth inning, I know you guys had a great conversation, but they got their top 3 hitters coming up. You got Montero ready to go in the bullpen. What was going through your mind there as far as weighing whether to let him go or take him out?
I think it was the 8th inning that kind of showed me, and prior experiences with him last year, just knowing how good he is when it's later in the game, it's 7th, 8th inning, and he knows it's close to the end. He's got an ability to kind of go to another gear where a lot of guys don't. It's kind of just fade off and get tired at the end. He can almost kind of reach back and get more, and I knew he was capable of doing that. No real thought in my mind. I just told him, I said, I don't want to risk injury. So if something's hanging on.
No, it's frozen.
Well, that's why you're in the Rocky Mountains. Chris, he got a lot of ground balls tonight. Was there anything about the game plan or anything that he was doing to get a high number of ground balls?
He's got an elite 2-seamer, so obviously he's been pitching, mainly with his 4-seamer, I think, since we got him. But today, Coors Field, he pitches at the top of the zone with his 4-seamer, and he got a lot of ground balls. He threw that 2-seamer down. And if they're sitting on his 4-seamer, they're trying to get on top of his 4-seamer, they're going to pound that 2-seamer at the ground. And that's kind of what happened today. So for him to have the ability to kind of use both like that, it just makes him special. It makes him elite.
So that was more Coors Field trying to get the ground ball than maybe other places?
Yeah, and maybe it's him. He's obviously really good at reading swings and reading what guys are trying to do to him. So if he sees they're trying to get on top of that 4-seamer, he's got really good command, first of all, but he's able to throw that 2-seamer at the bottom of the zone. The guys just pound it at the ground.
Next question, Jeff.
Hey, you mentioned the defense earlier, how he bailed you guys out. What do you think there was a turf factor there, turf to grass after a homestand, or what do you? Or just bad play?
You're right. I mean, it might have something to do with it because we don't play on grass. I think Jeff's play was just tough play. He tried to make a really difficult play, and just the ball sailed on him. The ball to Elvis was hit pretty hard, and it looked like he was in a good position to catch it. It just squirted by him. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's the factor, but he picked us up. Obviously, Lance picked us up after that.
And then Solak's going about as good as anybody you got. He is going as good as anybody you got. What do you think about his game? Seemed like the power kind of showed up tonight.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that had been missing. The one thing about Solak, and I talked to him today about this. The thing that I love about him is that he doesn't have to be right to be successful. He works at count. He draws walks. He's not afraid to get jammed. When his swing isn't right, he's still productive, and it's hard to find players like that. So I knew that when things get right, he just kind of stays afloat. And then when the power stroke kind of comes back, now you see what you did today. You see the right center field, the right field power, and that's when he's in a really good spot. But he never loses the fight. Even when he gets 2 strikes after that, he still grinds. And you see the other double dip, which is a 2-strike, jam shot down the line. So he's going about as good as we have right now, which is we needed it tonight.
The questions, Chris.
You mentioned the adjustments that Odor had to make to his swing. Obviously, he had a really key hit late in the game, but just overall, it looked like he hit the ball better. Did you see those adjustments come to fruition at the plate tonight?
Yeah, it was good to see right from the very first bat. He didn't even swing until he got 3-2, and then he hit a rocket to center, and that was a pitch that he'd been fouling off over and over and over again, or swinging and missing at, to be honest with you. So for him to kind of put it in play, you see his back elbow was lower. There was a lot. It looked better. And then his next at bat, he smoked going to second base, and then got obviously the big RBI hit. So yeah, I mean it's day one. It's better. Obviously, my message to him will always be, you got to keep doing that every day. We can't have the fallback and trying to search for it at times. So really good first day for him. Hit the ball hard 3 times.
And I would be remiss to ask or to not ask that hit by pitch on Dietrich looked pretty bad on the replay. Is everything okay with him?
I think so. He didn't seem to be bothered by it. I don't know if the guy feels pain sometimes, but yeah, we'll see. I'll check on him when I get down here and see if he can walk.
All right, thanks, Chris.
Next question, who else? Levi.
Hate to be the one to ask the negative questions at the end of a fun night, but Joey Gallo looks like maybe something is not exactly right with his swing. What are you seeing from him? What's going on there?
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of hard for him at times to pull the trigger. I don't know, and when he does, he's just missing some balls. He's fouling them back. I don't know. I mean, I know that he doesn't like where he's at right now, but he's going to obviously keep grinding and keep working. One thing about Joey, I really respect the way he goes about his business. He's going to come in tomorrow and ask questions and try to figure it out. That's what he's done since I've known him. So hopefully we can get obviously a better game from him tomorrow, so we can maybe sleep at night.
All right, thank you.
Couple more. Jeff, CJ, and then Jeff.
Hey, Woody, looked like there was a couple of awkward swings early, kind of up and down the line. But was that a product of that kid was throwing to look pretty good? He high spin rate fastball, or is there something about hitting in cores? Does the atmosphere play? We always talk about what the positive it does for hitters, but is there a negative there if you're not playing there very often?
Yeah, I don't know. The kid had good stuff, obviously. He used his slider quite a bit, used his curveball behind accounts, and it tended to go to his fastball kind of times when we weren't expecting it, and then you just break balls, So I thought he did a good job, and he commanded all his pitches. Some of the guys were complaining about the backdrop, being tough to see. I heard a few guys kind of walk by me mention that. So I don't know. I don't know if it's the Coors Field, like the trees back there that made it tough to see or something. But kid had a good night though. He pitched well.
Jeff, last question.
So you said Lance wasn't feeling well. What was it, like stomach ailment, or was he?
No, I think physically. I'm not going to get into details about what was bothering him. You can ask him that, but he wasn't 100%, and he still battled through it. Was able to kind of find that second gear, fourth gear, whatever you want to call it, when we needed it.
All right, thanks.
Okay, we'll let Woody go, and we'll have Nick Solak and then Lance Lynn coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Woody.